Good evening. It's day 96 of my run every day challenge, which just started on January the 1st, 2020. Almost at 100. And the last few days I've been, because we're all on lockdown, I've been trying to polish up on some subjects that I do mean to read up on, but don't often get the time. So now we've got all the time in the world. I've been reading up on some of the great philosophers, and I've been sharing a little bit about that every day. We did Socrates a couple of days ago. Yesterday we did Plato, and today I want to do a minute or two on Aristotle, who's the third of the great Greek philosophers. Now, Aristotle studied in Plato's academy. He joined the academy when he was 18, and he was the best in all disciplines. He was one of Plato's best ever students. And Aristotle was there until he was 37 years old. And at that point he excelled in everything. He was so good that he was known as the master or the philosopher. Imagine how good you've got to be called the philosopher. And he was so good, he was hired to tutor Alexander the Great. Before he was Alexander the Great, of course, but he became Alexander the Great, so obviously Aristotle was amazing at tutoring. And Alexander the Great went on to conquer all of the Western world. That's how good he was. And he repaid Aristotle very well. You know, he compensated him very well for his tutoring. And Aristotle used those resources to create his own schooling and a great library. So he did all of this with resources he got from Alexander the Great. One of the things that Aristotle, one of his greatest teachings that he's most well known for, is what he called the golden mean. You had to try and find the golden mean in life, and that was basically finding the middle ground in most things. For instance, let's take bravery. On the one end of the scale, you've got super brave to the point where you're reckless, and on the other side of the scale, you've got so unbrave, you know, it's cowardice. But what you want is someone in the middle, where you have courage. So not recklessly brave, and not without any bravery at all, but somewhere in the middle. And that's the golden mean. And his teachings were based around finding that in every part of life that you live. Unlike Plato and Socrates, Aristotle was more science-based, whereas Socrates and Plato were very much idealists, or seeking truth or form. Aristotle was all about science, and he is the father of logic and rationality. And so that's what Aristotle gave to the world: logic, rationality, and the type of thinking that survives to us today. So it survives to this very day. All of our scientific method were all based on what Aristotle left for the world. So there you go, that's a couple of minutes on Aristotle. I haven't run yet, been walking, so I'm going to start running now, and I'll see you on the way around. It is gorgeous out here today. So in the last 3 days we've covered Socrates, who didn't write anything down, Plato, who did write everything down and created the academy, our first high-level place of high-level education, and Aristotle, his best student, who helped produce Alexander the Great. They're the three main Greek philosophers. So I hope you learned something in the last few days. I've had to squish an awful lot of information down to a couple of minutes a day, so I hope it's been useful, or at least interesting. And I'm not sure what I'll do tomorrow, but today is day 96, and day 96 is now in the bag. Thanks for running with me today. Thanks for your likes, thanks for your comments, thanks for your support. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening.